Hey everybody, welcome to my career discussion board for Module 6 on weeding the collection. So I decided to review the historical fiction section of the collection at the library where I am completing my internship. This is actually going to be the next section that they review for weeding. And so we kind of approached it like a two birds, one stone kind of thing. So I got to get the first peek at the circulation report that we generated. So to begin with, the circulation report was populated from titles that were acquired between August 8th, 2008 and May 31st, 2019. Within these parameters, 610 titles were populated, and throughout this whole process, we will be undergoing 2 rounds of review. However, for the purpose of this assignment, I will be going over the first round of review. While reviewing this selection, I noticed that the titles were very outdated and overcluttered. There was also the titles that were highlighted for review were also highly undercirculated. So this is definitely a section within the library that needs to be kind of revamped and modernized with some newer titles and promoted to increase patron engagement. So looking at what I was reviewing as the criteria for the first round of review, I kind of narrowed this down to titles from 2008 to 2014, based on the date they were acquired. And I focused on titles that had less than 5 circulations. So of the 610 titles that are in the circulation report, 310 titles, which is over half, met the criteria of having undergone 5 circulations or less. Moving forward into the next round would consist of reviewing the titles acquired between 2015 and 2019 that had 0 circulations. So that would be kind of a later step taken. It is obvious when looking at the circulation statistics that this collection or this section within the collection is has not been weeded in a while. So it is not a effectively weeded selection. And the library that I'm at, they actually probably weed the different sections within their collection about every 5 years. However, even considering that, there are many titles in here that I feel like should have been flagged at the previous round, because some of these, I would say a good quarter of the titles within this collection were acquired in the year of 2008 or 2009, and which is probably when they were trying to expand the historical fiction subgenre. However, it's quite obvious that many of these titles, haven't gotten into the hands of the patrons. So upon looking at the titles that I selected for review, I started to think about when was the last circulation. So my next step would be to then review each title that I flagged and see if there has been any recent activity. And if that's the case, that may warrant, keeping it on the shelf. However, if this title was last circulated, if it was acquired in 2008 and it was last circulated in 2010, that's a good indicator that maybe it's time for that title to be removed from the shelf. Another question I'm asking myself is, can this title be moved to a different location? So some of the titles that meet the criteria for weeding that I was considering may be able to be moved to another subgenre or sublocation within the library, like classic literature or sci-fi fantasy. And maybe being in a new location on the shelf will maybe warrant some circulation and some traffic. Um, However, I do want to draw attention to a couple of titles here that could be moved over to classic literature. So considering I'm going to focus on two titles here. Both of these titles were acquired in August of 2008. The first title is Mansfield Park by Jane Austen, and it has only been circulated once, and that was back in 2009. And that title could easily be moved over to classic literature. The next title is also a Jane Austen novel of Sense and Sensibility, and this has only been circulated twice. Therefore, that could also go over to classic literature. So if it can find another home in the library, maybe it'll serve a better purpose, that might be warranted. I believe it's the 10th graders at the high school that I'm interning at. They have a project every year where they have to find another classic novel to kind of supplement their curriculum to write a paper. And so maybe strengthening the classic literature section and broadening those titles will be beneficial to help supporting curriculum needs. The last question that I'm asking myself when reviewing these titles, once I've gotten to this point, if deciding if the title needs to be removed or moved, or kept where it's at, is going to the shelf, pulling the titles in question, and then looking at the physical qualities of the book. So thinking of the musty criteria, is the book ugly? Is the binding falling apart? Is the cover ripped? Is the quality of the pages very brittle? Are they yellowing? Is there anything about it that is aesthetically unpleasing and maybe potentially keeping you patrons from engaging with that book? So those are the criteria that I am considering as I'm going throughout this process. And though that this collection was not previously weeded effectively and is definitely due for some TLC, hopefully over the next few weeks, we'll be able to get this narrowed down. And then moving into next year, the librarians at my school will be able to expand this collection by purchasing new titles or refreshing some of the older copies that may be lost that had higher circulations, that maybe the books just were not quite meeting the weeding criteria, but we need to have a second copy for a second location in the library or to replace the copy that we have. So by doing all of this work now and reviewing all of this criteria and the statistics, the librarians will be able to then add to the collection and refresh it and make it hopefully more appealing for patrons, and they can have a higher engagement moving forward. And hopefully the next time that this section comes back around for review, we won't have quite so many titles in here that are that need to be reviewed, and will make the weeding process easier moving forward. So thank you for stopping in to hear how I am reviewing and weeding this section of the library. And I will see you guys. Well, I guess I won't see you on the next assignment since this is our last discussion board, but I wish you all well, and maybe see you in the next class.